Anyway, I thought I'd do a bit of a video just to kind of show all of the bits and things that I've got that's kind of allowed me to kind of, in the early stages of my transition, up until now really. So it'll go over all the different binders and things like that I've had and used. It'll go over my STP devices, so my STP devices, and what I've used, what I find useful and what I can't use, and any packers that I've tended to use. So first off, binder wise, I started off with just a basic kind of sports bra really. I think I was a 34B, I think, last time I got properly measured anyway. So this is like this, I read somewhere or other, it was basically get the smallest size, so it's a 32A, just then it just squashes everything. It did squash things, but you were just contained to there, so it just made a smaller chest really. It was fine for when I exercised, because it wasn't the same sort of size as what I had, so it was smaller, allowed me to breathe still. So I tended to use the sports bra mainly for when I was in the earlier stages, when I was doing sort of exercise, only running, only cycling, anything like that. So from that one, there's I don't know if it's a company or it's not really a company, a group up in Manchester, so it's all kind of UK based, so up in Manchester, and called Morph, and they provide, they rely on trans guys that have had top surgery and no longer need or use their binders to send them up to them, and then they kind of disperse them really. They create a catalogue for people to have a look through, all online, and people say, have you still got this one? If you have, can I have it? And you pay, I think when I got them it was like £2 for each binder for their postage, and that's all that they do. Sometimes they're not in the best quality, sometimes they've got a couple of rips in them, things like that, but it's just kind of what you use. So one of the first ones I got from them was this one. I've not seen anyone actually particularly have this one before. So it's a tri-top in size, but I think it was a full length one, because I think the person that had this before me actually cut it. So I think this was actually a medium, so it's got, this is terrible in the summer, but it's alright if you're just going to wear this, but I'd often wear things over the top. So it's got 2 layers for the front and 2 layers for the back, and then a cotton kind of vest over the top of that. This was really good to start off with for me actually. It didn't fit me the best, so it didn't create the best binding, but to start off with, this was really good. I think this will, if you're just going to wear a vest and it's the right size for you, I think this will really work for some guys, but for me it was too big and it didn't kind of flatten me enough. Also from Morph, I got this one. I think I got this one before I got that one actually, but I got the other one, the full length one, because this one was so tight and difficult to get into. But this is again another one I got from Morph, but as you can see from the quality of it, well worn. I think it was well worn by the time I got it, and then I've worn it so much. I think generally when you're on T and hormones and stuff, your chest and your body changes shape. So when there was a time where this was very tight on me, this is now bigger than the binders I was using. But yeah, this is the tri-top. Personally I feel this is the best. For me, some people have their differences, but I much prefer a tri-top. There is a certain way you kind of have to get into them. Some people say, if they're tighter ones, the best way is to step into them and to work the way up to the hips and get an arm in, and push chest down either side. And then to get out of it, I tended to kind of go from each side and just kind of pull up and over. But yeah, tri-tops, they really work for me. Making sure you get the right size. I think that's an Underworks one. But yes, there was that one. And then this one I bought from Amazon actually, when they were selling them. Another Underworks one, another tri-top. I tended to get them all in white just because then they can go on and underneath anything. All my work t-shirts were white, so I just purely tended to go for the white ones actually. No, this one I didn't actually get from Amazon. I got this from my mate Luke. He had surgery, and yeah, he was saying that he had a couple of binders that he wasn't using, so if I wanted one, and he gave me this one. It's an Underworks tri-top. This one I lived and breathed, and yeah, I know people generally say you can't wear them more than, 8 hours or something, but I get up at 7 o'clock, I wear it, I put it on, and then I'm at work until 5 o'clock, so that's already 8 hours. I was tending to get in at about 7 o'clock, out about 10. Sometimes, quite often I'd have like one day of not wearing it if I knew I was staying inside, where I'd feel comfortable for the rest of the day, just to give myself a bit of stretch, really. But again, tri-tops, they work for me, they don't work for others. And then this one is the one that I actually bought from Amazon. It started off as a full length one, and I wore it for one of my shifts at work. So I wore it for one of my shifts at work, and it was just so compressing on stomach, on the hips. It kept riding up. Every 5 seconds I was bending over, just riding up. I was sitting down, it was riding. I just couldn't position it correctly. Yeah, I just didn't get on with it, so I just cut it to the length of a tri-top. This one is a bit smaller than the one that I generally wear, so I didn't wear this one as much. But yeah, I just feel like I'm saying the same sort of thing. Still prefer a tri-top, really. But all of these binders I'm going to wash and probably send back to Morph, just because they were such a help to me when I first started. And their quality of binders does really change, and they have a lot of the larger binders, so I think I'm going to send them all back to Morph, and at least some people that need the first binder can actually benefit from them. And then this one is one that I bought off eBay for like £3 from like Thailand or something, but this one is actually like large. I think their sizes are quite different than ours, but on the eBay website where I got it from, they gave you the list of sizes, and make sure you actually go from those sizes, because generally I'm a small, I would never have been able to fit in there small. So this one works with a series of the clasps, so you can make it the smaller or the larger as you need. It is a bit tricky getting them all down. Sometimes you're halfway there and one clips at the top. It's not too bad. I tend to use this one when I go to the gym, just because it's shorter. It still compresses me enough that I'm flatter. I'm not completely flat with it, just because it's a little bit of elasticy kind of cotton, kind of polyester stuff, I don't really know, in it. But there's no real, the same kind of compression that's in the actual binders themselves. I think this was labelled as like tomboy binder compression vest, something like that. But I wore it when I went to the gym. It did enough to flatten me down, but it was loose enough so that I could breathe and actually exercise quite well, actually. So I would actually recommend that. Oh yeah, it's large. I would actually recommend that if you do go to the gym, if you're quite active and things like that, just giving you a layer of compression without having to wear a proper binder when you actually go into the gym, because you can't breathe as much. So they're all the ones that I wore before my top surgery, and then these are my top surgery ones. This is the one I woke up in. I find this quite different just because some guys are smaller than others in height-wise, and I found it quite difficult when I was lying there with this on, just in terms of room. So this says medium. So yeah, so this is the one that I supplied, and it just goes round as tight as they can, really. So that one, and then this one is the one that Ginny, I had my surgery with Yellen, his secretary, got for me online. It's neoprene. I paid £12.50 for it from her, but I think you can just get this. If I knew exactly what this was, if she showed me what it was, I could have got it off eBay so much cheaper than what she got it. But I kind of, at the time, I wanted to make sure that it was exactly what I needed, and kind of as ease, I just got her to get it for me, really. Yeah, I had a funny reaction to the neoprene. I got a rash from it, so I ended up having to wear a vest underneath this just to protect my skin, really. But yeah, so that is they're all the binders that I've used. I've tended to be more inclined towards STPs rather than actual packers, really. So I've got a couple of different STPs. I've seen a lot of American guys making their medicine spoon STPs. My main problem was trying to get one of these damn medicine spoons. I understand they're very common in most supermarkets and things like that in America. In the UK, we don't have these. I don't know if I'm the only guy that's had that problem, but I had so much difficulty. I went to all the pharmacies, all the supermarkets, could not find it. In the end, I got it off eBay. And they got it from, it was an old supermarket product they had. So I made this a few years ago, actually. So you've just got your little spout. I've used this a couple of times. I might need to do a little bit of work on it. I've got another couple of these spoons upstairs. I might have a little go, but I had to melt down that bit down because it was a rim all the way around, and cut the end off and really smooth it down, just so that when the urine came out of it, it was smoother. Always cut that bit at a slope, because if you don't, it will just spray everywhere, so it gives it a nice gradient. Yeah, I've never particularly got on with it. I've just always been quite worried that that's not going to be big enough, and I can't get my anatomy right and actually position it correctly, and I think it's more wary of that one. The one that I've tended to use is the Shiwi, actually. People at work tend to talk about it when they go camping and things like that, and I find it always really awkward because it's a thing that I tend to use so I can stand to pee just on an average basis. Yeah, so I've got two of them, actually. I thought I'd lost this one, so I got this one. So this is the kind of the tan colour, or you've got the white one. And I understand about people saying that they have problems because it's something they have to have in their pocket. You can't hide that in a hand, whereas the medicine spoon one you can more of. But I don't tend to go to the urinals. I tend to go in the stalls and still kind of stand. I've stood, I think, a couple of times at the urinal with one of these, and once you kind of got it in place, you can't see much of the spout, really. But I like the bigger receptacle bit, just because it makes you feel as though you don't really have to worry about position that much. As long as you can feel a certain part of it, generally you're right. Whereas compared to that, if you don't hit that correctly, you've got wet trousers, whereas this, you've got more chance in getting it in the right spot. Not had any problems with these. I think I've only had one problem on a night out. I had been drinking, and I think I don't think I got it positioned absolutely correctly. I did get my boxer shorts wet slightly. I found that when people have said that they find it very difficult to stand pee, it is a different experience because the same muscles that you use to push pee out kind of pushes your back passage as well. So I find it a really strange sensation trying to pee when standing up, or I was trying to kind of, yeah. I found alcohol helps. I'm against people, you know, absolutely getting drunk and not knowing what they're doing and relying on alcohol too much. But the first couple of times I've used it on a night out, and it's the alcohol which has kind of eased me down slightly, and you just relax enough that you can use it. I've used it in clubs, had it in my pocket, no real problem with those two. But I'm a fan of the Shiwi. I know there's a lot of different things out there, and people are, because you can't discreetly use it, people have found Shiwis are not the best, but I like Shiwi. So my packers, there's the Mr. Limpies. They're just the cheapest and easiest thing, really. This one cost, I've got these two, I think that's the medium and that's the large maybe. They look about size. This one's a lot older, so it's a different colour. I do tend to wash them, then these two aren't in the best quality actually. I do tend to wash them just in kind of warm water, and then once they're dry, they go quite sticky. So I tend to just use a bit of talcum powder, just generic talcum powder. I know Americans tend to use like corn flour, but talcum powder works for me. Just get a little bit on it and just kind of rub it into it, and it just takes off the stickiness. Okay, it does smell like a baby for a little bit, but it just takes off that stickiness and the grime of it, really. But I've been trying to come up with a couple of ways to kind of wear this properly in packers, my boxers and things. I've used a jock strap, but I've not liked the extra straps and things. I've tried just in my boxers, and it kind of tends to float around and pop out one short leg. Y fronts tend to hold this quite well actually. I don't tend to wear Y fronts as much as boxer shorts, but I think in certain circumstances, if I want to pack properly, then I would go for my actual Y fronts for it. So a thing that I made literally the other day, I saw a guy on YouTube do a video of it, is just a harness for it. If there is any actual interest in showing you how to make one of these, if people kind of message me or drop a comment in or whatever that they'd be interested, I could do a little video on just how to make this bit. But the packer, come on, works its way in with a bit of help, and then you wear this, so it's just a pair of boxers. I don't need underneath your boxers, and then your boxers come over the top, and it kind of just positions it nicely with a little bit of support. Yeah, that's quite helpful actually. So this is my other packer. I actually converted it myself from one of the STPs. So this is, there's a guy called Dylan Wikifu who makes them for urinal.com, and so he makes this receptacle bit and it's got the tubing. You can buy the whole thing with the packer, or you can just get the STP, or you can just get the tubing. I just got the STP and the tubing itself. Got this packer, put a hole in it, and it's very tricky. I don't tend to use this. I find this STP quite difficult because it's hard. Imagine having that in your boxes. Where does that go? I know some guys really like the urinal ones. So yeah, I've never found a position that's kind of comfortable, and so down there, that bit kind of digs into a pubic bone. I've tried that kind of in the middle of the legs, but it's just not comfortable. I know people can get the like the 3-in-1 or the 2-in-1 kind of packer and pee and play and things like that. It's nothing I've particularly looked into it so far. It might be something I look into a little bit in the future. Now that I've kind of had top surgery, we've got a house, you know, working full time might be something that I then kind of look into. So if I do, I will do a little video about it. So I'm just getting into some bits of fluff really. But yeah, so we've gone through my binders, my STPs, and my packers and harnesses. If you do want a little demo of how I made the harness for the Mr. Limpy Packer, let me know and I'll try and do a little video. We are going to do a video about massage and things like that for people that wear binders, because massage has been really helpful when I've been wearing my binders and things. I'll put my namey's Tumblr URLs at the bottom, so feel free to kind of follow us or send us any messages. You can send either of us messages on here or Tumblr's. Amy looks at the YouTube all the time. Feel free to comment and I will reply and things. I think that's everything. If anyone's got any ideas for any other videos, just send us a comment, send us a message or whatever. Just let us know. Alright, have a good day.